All right. So since I'm getting a little bit better about the negative acknowledgement kind of thing, we're gonna talk a little bit about it even further in a certain other example, porn and sex addiction. So I'm gonna talk about four things that pornography and sexual urges has robbed from my life. This can very well be a higher or lower scale detrimental to talk about depending on the person. But for the sense of the NoFap and Stream Nutrition community who knows that this is invaluable information from any perspective, then you already know what to do with this. So but number one, learning backwards. I still think of it as being a treasure that I was able to not have to follow through with too many status quo ways of living and learning how to live life. That being said, even when I found the treasures and brought them back to the popular culture, which I still enjoy doing to this day, even no matter how long it takes to do that, or how quick it would have been otherwise, who knows. Learning backwards is a blessing and a curse at the same time, in my opinion. It's a blessing in the sense that you can learn things that most people will never see for the light of day in that regard. But it's a curse in the sense that you should have still learned popular things anyways. What what an addiction like pornography and sex can do to you is that you end up being so desensitized that you won't even notice why it was wrong that you learned something backwards, or even what could have been the alternative to that alternative of learning how to live life. And the fact that you're even learning in the first place may seem good inherently, but you're still not learning the main life lessons. And it's like you have to learn them eventually, even if the alternatives are still very valuable in your life and applied otherwise. You can indeed choose what you learn as per my own advice, but maybe there's something missing if what you should have already done since the beginning is the last thing you do. When the last thing that you do is the first thing that you should have started doing the entire time since you were here on this planet. And then maybe the fundamentals could tell you something else entirely different from a different route of other last and duration journey ways. That's what backwards learning. And there's nothing wrong with learning things in an alternative way or in an intricate way that seems impossible to the average educator or mentor. But, I am number two. Lower transparency on a social level. Everyone who has ever had to deal with me on a communication manner either thinks I'm a Nobel Peace Prize winning Newbery Gold Medal writer or thinks I talk like a garbage can. It is what it is. It's like I either couldn't be any more well worded and scripted, or I never shut the hell up and I don't make any sense like a crickogram. Again, it is what it is. There may be people in between, but like it depends. It's just like a there are some people who miss the point entirely, where they saw my purpose in life writings and compared that to my departure notes, and some people in particular have done this, made the mistake of assuming that one experience with my friends is the same as my family, and if you know how I purposely behave on a bipolar level, like intentionally scripting myself to be a different person between different people in different environments, then you know that the same thing applies to my writing. I'm not trying to pander too much to mediums of I will only write an essay if it's an essay. I will only talk straight to the point if I'm talking to other people. It's not like that for me. Actually, in fact, for that regard, it's completely different too. But in the case of being a deliberate bipolar aesthetic, that's what I do with people socially, and even on a written scale, orally, uh, it's different. But the transparency on a social level has been a little different. You can think of transparency being like a spiritual thing, like being transparent with yourself. And there's definitely a lot of merit to that. But when you can't even really like resonate with other people, when you can't ping pong, there's a lot of levels to this. When you can't even ping pong circuitry, the things that you do with other people to share ideas from the get go when you're younger, and then you know what someone else is thinking, and they know what you're thinking, and it's like not to the complete extent it needs to. Maybe it doesn't actually need that anyways. It's not necessary maybe. Then you're not really going to worry about having a future where you don't have much else to do in your life, but at least you got to do what you wanted the first time. And people can live for their own things, whether they're nihilists or apathetic, or living for their grinding on their mission in life and making the world a better place, wherever they choose to do with their life, or even being hedonistic or having a simple life in monk mode, whatever the heck that means. But if you're not transparent particularly socially, most people are not going to know who you are. And I made a video about this, like Soap's Treasure, which you can watch now, like 3 or 2 months ago. And this goes into a little bit of the same thing. It's like this is a bit more the negative enhancement of that. It's like it kind of does suck very much indeed that most people don't know who Tony Cashman is. And even more than that, most people who want to look for the light and the beauty in the world don't know who Tony Cashman is. So even if you're not looking for some juggernaut to save your life, which I'm not going to do that for you anyways, I'm sorry. Depends on what happens in this life, but it's like you should probably find beauty in your own life anyways, including your other people around you that are not me. But I'm not the only like beauty in this world. There's no way. Like there's gotta be other people that are probably even beyond what I can do in other ways, particularly. But um, that is what makes transparency so important. Is that on a social level, not culture really, not even so much social norms or status quo, but social norms. You have to find a way to resonate somehow with other people. Because if you end up thinking that you're unique because you didn't know how to find other people to relate to who already could relate to you, but you just didn't know what they were like because you couldn't communicate with them, yeah, that sucks. That fucking sucks. Go buy meditation. Well, like, seriously, it's like, so porn and sex does this thing where you are within a pretty simple disconnect because you're desensitized from your mental, physical, and spiritual, emotional level. This is the oversimplification of it. I didn't directly renounce anything else, but like you can't connect with other people. It's not so much that you have nothing of value or that you don't have anything to do with people when you're not fapping your jongs off to degenerate media or even having too much soul ties with your intercourse. You actually become someone who doesn't know how to tell if that's important. And even if it was important to you, you still couldn't care anyways. And so that disconnect and transparency with other people can suck. Number three, it's like so I have like transparency. Oh yeah, I got that. Slow reaction times is number three. The really, really, really weird thing about being on this human world is that people believe very strongly and closely with the idea that it is somehow a fact that we have to have a sense of urgency. And many people will condition this very hardcore. They'll be like, oh no, sense of urgency is a life lesson. You have to hurry the hell up and do things or else it'll be too late. Or you'll never have to do anything ever again, or will never have the chance ever again in your whole lifetime. You have to hurry up. You have to run at 72 miles per hour on your feet, and then 400 in the car. And no, like even the who's that guy? The coach something like he says, "Be quick but don't hurry." And then I even follow through with the Red Rover advice of slow pace cultivation, which is like more like going at your own pace in spite of how fast your progress is still being. And it's like so studying yourself to be able to win the race, but you're still going faster than you realize. And there's a lot that goes in the sense of urgency, to be fair, but it's like because people do seem to lose a lot of opportunities over life, especially without the spiritual plan of things. But it's like, gosh darn it, man! Like slow. I don't even think it's even possible to have a slow reaction speed if you don't even know what urgency would even mean. That doesn't mean you mean you're slow anymore. You're just not wherever that is. This is insane, in my opinion. Of course. There is a scene from the Scooby Doo 2 movie, Monsters Unleashed. There's that one slime that keeps going around the gang, the mystery shot gang, and they're like Scooby, Fred, Velma, Shaggy, and Daphne are throwing this really important plot device around the room. They're trying to like recover it or something. Is it's like stealing the intel in Team Fortress 2, whatever. It's something really important. It's like the scepter or some shit. And there's this one monster that kind of is broken OP. It's like it keeps moving around the room so fast that by the time one of the other gang members gets the pod device, he's already there about to like snap them. And it's like either the item or the person. It's like, and that makes me that I use that as symbolism for a lot of different things in my life. Reaction times. I used to say that like things like, oh, the Ocarina of Time horse Epona or any car automobile in real life is exactly how reaction speeds seem to work for some people. Doesn't have to be star seeds, just anybody in particular. Like reaction time of a car or a horse or that whatever that freaking monster is compared to that person or thing. The reaction speeds are so quick for them that for you it's like I'm doing my best and it's still not enough. What the gosh darn it, man! It's they're too quick, they're too flexible, they're too snappy. They're gonna be there already, and you don't even know how you got there yourself. You don't know how you got there. You're not trying to refute accountability or responsibility. You just want to understand. And even if you're not supposed to understand, you still want to do the right thing. But people are not giving you that chance because every time you do it even better than them, they're still calling you out for doing something improperly. And that's something that they take for granted very harshly. And it's like this world can be very sinister and cruel in the sense that even if you did something beautifully, if you do it wrong, you're somehow the evil villain or the waste of oxygen. And it's like, so those slow reaction speeds can really damper a person's spirit because it's like you want to be a good person, whatever that means. You want to be an effective person, whatever that means. But people who extinguish this based on a counterpoint of laws and rules, or keep it simple, stupid, or um, losing opportunities forever, it can be really detrimental. It's like it sucks. The slow paced cultivation is my way of living life. Not so much from traumas. I'm recovering from them regardless. Is being someone who can go at his own speed, whether I go fast or slow. And I still prefer to do it my own way anyways, whether it's slow or fast. But the reaction speed is kind of like a horse or a car or anything opposition to a damn slime moving that goddamn fast. It is like it sucks. And porn and sex has this awkward relevance to that in the sense that if you want to skip to the scene that you want to watch in the pornography and you want to get straight to getting hanky-panky because you know that you're not trying to do it for a bad reason or even trying to get to the intercourse in a way that doesn't have to be unwarranted. There are people in NoFap and Zero Attention who say that sex is pointless, not even for so much the biological needs or the spiritual aspect of it, if that's even included, could be. They say that like the waste of the orgasm and the seed, or even the fact that you had sex for the soul ties, is all completely pointless, and it's like wasted pleasure. It's like I strongly actually disagree with that. There's so much that goes into life itself that while yes, there's a possibility that already inherently exists that there are way more important things and even more pleasurable and beautiful and limitlessly beautiful things in life that could transcend sex easily, full stop. But that doesn't mean sex doesn't matter. It doesn't even mean sex isn't going to be as beautiful as you think it. There are people who abstain for a year and sex is one of the most beautiful things in their entire life. And so it's like so this thing where you where the addiction breaks off this reaction time and you have to be snappier no matter how relevant your addiction is to those unfortunate circumstances or not. You have to be quicker for some reason. You have to be objective. You have to be someone who no one can judge, even though they'll judge you anyways. So screw them. That's kind of what makes refutation for a man important, even other people, not just men or women or whatever. But, you know, and number 4, so we got learning backwards, reaction times, transparency. So something that, a way that porn and sex has ruined my life, not necessarily sex, I'm still a virgin, whatever, yeah, throw on the fairy. I'm actually chaste, by the way, in that regard, but that's the same thing. Just an addict at this point, maybe. But as I should remind you though that I am actually at like 3 to 4 weeks abstained porn free, so I haven't watched pornography in almost an entire month, and I haven't even for like maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Hanged it in there while you weren't watching, but you couldn't anyways because YouTube. Number 4 should probably be something like, I prepared this list ahead of time, but it's like number 4 is it made it so that anything that did matter to me couldn't anyways. So whatever I forfeit as a want was still going to be thrown out the window. And whatever was something that I should have already been doing, I still didn't do it anyways. And it's like, So maybe that shouldn't have necessarily be the item. I just want to put that out there. Let's say instead, just say number four is uh, having deeply intimate meanings and connections with people and things that I don't know how to explain and don't know how to delve into, even if I'm not supposed to. I obsess a lot about some certain friendships and relationships, uh, bonds and connections and romantic ways of doing things, people and things, freaking all the obsessions I have. This has a bit of a past life energy to it. It's like there's no way I would like blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girls if I actually legitimately did not know one in my entire life. So there's a bit of past energy with that. But it's like there's a bit of past energy with liking the idea of being a dark brown-haired uh, hero with a magic sword, thank you, Tarn from Black Cauldron. Technically, I have brown hair, but I don't see it. I just see black hair. Everyone has a little bit of brown hair DNA, but it's what the frick. I never thought I had brown hair until my dad put it up to me. I was like, oh, it's obvious you have brown hair. Oh, really? How is it obvious? Like, because you have brown hair. I know he was trying to keep it simple, but I don't see it. I just see black hair. I don't see it. So people like Jane Animations and Emery Richu who draw their cartoon anime renditions as being brown haired or dark brown, I don't see it because in real life you have black hair women, both of you, all the other artists who draw brown hair instead of black. Gosh darn it. But so I'd be wishing for that brown hair because I like it a lot. Apparently I have it, so woo, mission accomplished. The thing with being this romantic and intimate with even just friendships and business partners and other people, career path, educators, mentor figures, other kinds of bonds and soul contracts and the soul connections and relationships with people without even needing to be romantic or friends with them. There's a little bit of energy there that is very suspicious and mysterious. It's like I don't know how it gets there to that point. I'm not trying to blame porn and sex for being impossible to make it where I can't actually humble myself to be that good of a person, to know why these things happen, where I don't even connect with people on a deeper level where I'm at anyways. And I don't know why I have all these deep connections with people that I didn't even necessarily have to be grateful for having any remotely good friends or family. And I already have, thankfully, already. But to really actually believe that it's possible to be surprised or overwhelmed for a good reason, because I'm the kind of person who wants to be overwhelmed and surprised. I'm very up there in that dreamy Wonder Boy kind of state where I don't want to have to be a know-it-all or high on a horse and be full of myself to prove that I actually am a good person. And it's not that I don't want anything special to happen in my life. It's just that I don't have to hold on to it anymore because I'm so free. I can still live a normal life, inspire the blessings and higher stakes I could try to get into with my life while still being a humble and loyal, good person. But these connections I have with people that don't even exist or do exist, I just don't know them yet, it's kind of creepy. It's like, what would have happened if I wasn't a porn addict or a sex addict? Again, still Chasto, uh, who didn't have to lose his spirit to kind of these degenerate medias and acts and be like, what would I have to want to prove if I was that? Because I always was that good of a person. I'm a very beautiful, pure person, but to not have to be lost in those things and then still have a way to do bad things on accident, learn how to overcome them and take accountability. And even if there are girls and women and boys and men, anyone else, anything else, any other aspect of life or career or whatever, choices, opportunities, circumstances, scenarios, situations. If any of them were to accept me or dislike me in a way that I couldn't predict. Because I know, I said before, there are things in the future that are going to be harder than I have ever dealt with my entire life, even if people think I've been tame and weak the entire time, because screw those people. But oh, if you can't handle this little thing, you can possibly handle all the other and little things in life. It's like, no, go away. Seriously, you back me up or get out. I mean, don't believe me. Don't agree with me all the time. But you know what I mean, right? Like, just everyone has a struggle, even me. I hold that dearly because I know that there are hard things I dealt with. But even if it looks like I'm being a little mellow on those things, but you know, but it happens to people because we're human. What did porn and sex take away from me that I couldn't even see in other people, if not myself, or other spiritual essences, foundations, beauties of life that I can't see in anything else anymore? I don't just mean this on a social, romantic, deep, intimate level. I mean this more like, why can't I tell that this was worth it to keep going, not give up, and still not have a better answer than what I already thought I had, or even at all? Why do I refuse to be a nihilist and a pessimist and do really horrible things more than I already apparently did, according to other people, and then still wonder if I was a good person, even though I already am a good person? And it's frightening to think of that. It's like how much little progress I would have made in my life if I actually gave up sooner in a way that I thought I was giving up, than if even this seems like slow progress for not giving up the entire time. It's very frightening. It's like, I don't want to be a nihilist. I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be someone who's hard on himself on accident and on purpose. But these things can scare a person. It's like when you don't know why you keep going. You don't know why you're on the ground crawling because someone kicked you down there and you're still getting kicked on and they keep throwing salt in the wound. These are just all negative enhancements and acceptances. It just, I don't think most of these things even remotely have anything to do with porn and sex, but it's just, that's the idea, is that it'll connect to you in a way that you couldn't imagine. Even if you only relapse to PMO like once a month, or you only indulge in edge on sexual fantasies once a year, there are very subtle and this is in moderation for a lot of things, not necessarily everything, maybe top notch, full throttle, or taboo behind. But there are things that even the tiny things you do in your everyday life can affect your life in very bigger ways, good or bad. And the same thing goes with addiction. It's like, even if you don't think it has anything to do with those things, you may not think porn and sex has anything to do with the beauty of your life or the meanings you want to look for any warranted good reason, understandably so. It can be really, very wicked to not know why you're still doing these things, why you still push forwards, even though it looks like what's over in the ether is either not there or doesn't have to be seized. And it's like, people want to believe, because when you're not a nihilist and you don't just have chosen meaning, you have inherent meaning. You actually want to be someone who goes into that ether. It does not, to you, to those people, to me, it does not matter whether I find anything in the ether that I don't know what's on around the corner. I don't care if I get a reward for this. I don't care if I have something to prove, and I don't even care if I even like it, or even truly get surprised and overwhelmed in a good way. I just want to be someone who does not leave too early and who does not make it a moot point to give up on something that was very much possible, even if it didn't seem worth it. This is actually one of the most positive things I could say about why, even if porn and sex ruined my life, what it would mean for me to still be that kind of person. And it's just, it didn't take much later than last Sunday to realize that not only, I'm not going to cry, that I did not only just become humble and lovable for real, and really did become someone that I was proud of, but I actually managed to understand that while the proverbial mountain keeps going, and while you still keep at the bottom rung of every other circumstance in life, people are going to treat you like you never did anything bad with your life, but who needs them again? It's actually very fun and playful and beautiful that the work never stops. But sometimes you do want to karmically connect to that part of yourself, which is where it's like, why does this suck the way it does for like the entire time? Why does this only feel uncomfortable when I'm doing it right, and when I don't know how to stop doing it right, even if it was going to be a way to teach me that it was actually wrong to do it in a different way, and how to understand that better. That's not to be contrary with Pandora's box or Sorayer's cat, by the way, but as with any addiction, porn and sex is not the thing that ruins your life. It's the life story that you want to tell and the principles you stand by that, depending on how you use what you value, could very well define for you whether or not it did ruin your life. Porn and sex is only one solid, oddly, weirdly specific example of how that works. I would not want to be hard on myself for what it's worth. I would not want to be someone who just suddenly gives up because he wants to see what giving up is like. I've been contrarian like that before. I've been cynical like that. I've been someone who's like, do I want to just not, do I want to know what it's like to give up just to see what happens? Do I want to leave early because I don't know how to make the most of a life that still is beautiful for me? I can never do that. It's too much on the line for that. It's like I'm so positive and grateful for these things that even if something happens to me, knowing that I didn't do that to myself would be better than just doing it sooner just because I want to be uh, improvisational or contrarian and cynical about, well, at least if I do it to myself, then no one else can do it to me at first. It's like, no, you don't give up regardless. You don't, no matter how bored you get, no matter how, this is a bit of a, okay, this is legitimately kind of a ramble rant for the end of the other end of the video, but like, you don't give up regardless. You don't stop just because your life could seem boring or endlessly painful and suffered from. You don't give up. Porn and sex or no porn and sex. Addiction or no addiction. Things that have been robbed from you that may have ruined your life or not. You need to reserve that part of yourself now, going forwards, and from behind you that don't render that being in being pointless or out of the fray or the context. It's just this is a bit more of a positive message inspired saying that these things ruin my life, but it's like a um, yeah, it's just I'm there are parts of myself I will always accept. There are parts of myself I'm going to have to change anyways. I love women. I love girls. That's who I am. I love my friends. I have them. I never lie and say I have no friends. So that's not even. Jeez, I can't even imagine if I was someone who would say I don't have no friends, and actually want to believe that for some reason. Because so, you'll believe anything that you tell yourself all the time. That's the whole point of my affirmations. Excited, happy, I love my life. I'm humble, lovable, and I'm being rewarded for it. It's just how it goes. But as effective as been, endured wise. Again, starting off with those last four items, slow, slow reaction time, learning backwards, transparency on a social level, and not understanding why inherent intimate ways of living my life made any relevance to porn and sex addiction, or even if it had any relevance to what I was doing in the first place on this planet. So stuff like that. Those are the four items, I think. I didn't really give the fourth one a title, but we're gonna push for 29 minutes. I know what to say, guys. There's ASMR content for like suicide prevention. I always wanted to make. This is kind of like one of the ideas of them, is like in this life we don't even understand what's happening more than half the time. So it's not to market poorly why life is good, or to even market shallowly why it can't be bad. People who fail to market college and careers in a good way, where they're like, "Oh, just go to school because you survive," or like, "Just live life because if even if it's boring, you might as well live." No, market that well. And my example extended that is like, life is not beautiful because you are here. It's beautiful because you continue to choose to be here, and you don't let it become anything else other than what you choose it to be. I think the people who do not give up, no matter what they go through, even if your addiction is seen as a good thing for the path and for what it's been worth, you already know that there are good things that can be bad, but at least they were good for you.